It's time for coL Gaming to take on Complexity. So far this season, CLG has won both matchups against Complexity, and the last time they met was in Week 4, where CLG poked and split pushed their way to a dominant 35-minute victory.
And in that game, Link played really well against Complexity. He was 3-1-7 as Nidalee against Complexity, and CLG is during that growth stage right now. They went 1-1 yesterday with a win over the #1 seeded team in the LCS with coRS, even though they lost to TSM at the start of the day. So this could be like their easy matchup of the weekend. Let's hope they didn't underprepare.
It could be, but Complexity took out Marn yesterday with a pretty sweet double AP composition.
Yeah, and I mean, Complexity has been an up-and-down team. They had the poor decision-making in some of the situations in their game versus TGU today, but they've proven they can beat some of the big teams. They've beaten Dignitas. They were almost the first team to beat coRS way back at the start of the season. They do have a lot of latent potential in that team. It's just got to come out at the right times.
Absolutely. We'll see if that can happen within this game, but let's check out our lineups. On the blue team, it's coL Gaming. Hotshot in the top, as usual. Jungle is Chowster. Link in mid, Doublelift on AD, and Aframu at support.
And on the red team, we have Complexity with Nick Wu in the top lane, Loudamortis in the jungle, Trooper mid, Brunch U on AD, and MIA on support.
So noticing that a lot of, just people focus on Complexity. It was Loudamortis a lot before, but they see that Trooper can be focused as well in mid, and if that's taken out early, it doesn't have very good late fight presence. How do you think that Complexity can counter this?
It's the strangest thing for Complexity, right? Because they're still usually only running one tank. Unfortunately for Loudamortis, since he's always the only tank, he's got the most deaths in the LCS. Right? He has died more than anybody else, but that is because of the team strategy. He will play true tanks and play them as true tanks no matter the situation. They'll be down 20 kills, and he's diving in because he's the front line, right? And he doesn't have anyone to back him up. So that's just what teams do against him, and it means there is more pressure on Trooper because if there's only one tank, he falls faster, and that means Trooper is less protected than other mids.
We'll have to see what they do to defend that back line, as well as probably give Loudamortis a little bit of help as well doing that solo tank job. See Rumble, Shen, Vayne banned out, pretty much, just what we were thinking.
And I'm thinking that unless CLG is going to play Zed, they're also going to be banning it. Or, if they're not first picking it. Because Nick Wu, you get rid of Shen and Zed, and then what does Nick Wu have, right? It's probably like a Renekton after that, but he doesn't have the greatest versatility. And CLG is laughing about that Evelynn ban because they talked about this yesterday. Link spammed Eve in solo queue. They have no intention of playing Eve. He just likes the champion. So when it got banned against TSM, they're like, that's funny. But when it happened again, they kind of lost it.
Fool them twice. Looks like they are able to get them. You know something I was thinking about the other day that we haven't seen a lot is, in the end, swapping out the champion for the top mid, for the other. Does lane swapping now just kind of cancel that out anyways?
It changes so much of the high priority picks, at least, because you can pick a champion that gets to go anywhere. Right? Like, you pick a Zed, it's mid, jungle, or top, and you don't know where it is. And since Zed is off the table right now, like, I am expecting Nick Wu to play this at some point, whether it's a first pick or whether CLG isn't getting it. First picking Jarvan is also a little curious because he lost his armor aura from his flag in this patch. We're playing on 3.04, and that was compensated a little bit with a buff to his shield that now gives more at higher ranks. But other teams have dropped him. CLG's played Jarvan in their victory as well yesterday,
they did.
So they still highly value Jarvan's ability. Chowster's probably going to be jungling it, but it is a quirk of CLG.
It allows Chowster to really help control more, being that theory crafter of the team. He wants to be able to get to every lane fast, and one of the reasons a lot of junglers pick up Jarvan is because he can get to those tricky spots and really get into lane faster. Yeah,
and I wonder how Chowster's going to be continuing to play right now, because he gets criticized a lot since they have, removed St. Vicious way back, and it's like Chowster didn't think his decision-making was right, and everyone loud St. Vicious for getting all that farm a lot of the time. And Chowster doesn't. He's much more likely to want to gank the lanes, support the lanes, and let them do things. And if they succeed again, I mean, Doublelift had some awesome Twitch stuff the other day, and since Caitlyn and Vayne were already banned, that is his third AD carry, right?
I really like the complexity composition coming out here. It says we can dive that Twitch as much as we want. coL, Zed coming in. You have the Repel as well, and we have a Mumu coming in for Loudamortis. He just doesn't even care about that balance recently.
Yeah, and that's a fighting comp right there. I mean, jungle Mumu most likely. That's probably a support Elise, mid coL, and top Zed.
Yeah, usually we'd see the support by now. So
yeah, so they just have to pick their AD carry up from now. That is a very fight and dive comp. So CLG wants to be able to either protect that really strongly or go in as well. And if Hotshot picks Malphite, that would be the right pick for him. He's He's super strong in Malphite. Like, it's Malphite, Cho'Gath.
It's been a while, too.
And even Shen are kind of his top things. He really destroyed with Cho'Gath yesterday. I mean, for all the criticism he gets, his Cho'Gath was legitimately good yesterday.
Like right back to the roots, Glacial Shroud, right into the Frozen Heart, all tank, no health, just beat down on people.
Yeah, and now this makes picking an AD carry for Complexity much more difficult because they know they're against a Malphite and a Jarvan. You have to pick a very highly mobile AD carry, or you're asking for trouble, right? So we'll see what happens with Complexity.
Well, they leave it up to the last one, and different. You really don't see a team round out with the AD carry.
Not usually. I feel like Complexity was like rushing to those picks a little bit. The Amumu was picked safely because they knew that Jarvan was already against them.
Right.
But the other picks, it's like they wanted to deny the coL, they wanted to deny the Zed, they wanted to even stop Elise from maybe some kind of junk, like maybe a support Elise from Aphromoo. Yep. I'm not really sure about that one, but the highly mobile AD carry in Ezreal is pretty much what they were forced into by CLG's dive.
And I like it because obviously the ultimate being AoE, long range, across the map. You want Jarvan, you have Malphite diving into the middle. So you're at least hitting a few, right? They do want to get together in a ball, so Ezreal ultimate is going to be able to kind of just cross that over.
Yeah, so if this game gets close, Complexity will be a team fighting force, but that's also CLG's strength, right? So Nick Wu will try to bully Hotshot in that top lane. He is so strong on Zed against Malphite. The rest of the lanes, not entirely sure how that's going to go out. Chuper versus Link will really be a skill matchup of how good Link is at catching Chuper off guard. You look at CLG's team comp, and it's another one of those support the double lift, but they do have a little bit more threat than usual, right? It's not the 3 to 4 supports we saw against Team Solomid where they made the one mistake and they were out of the game. They have a lot more punch in this one.
Now let's take a little look at the mids and the junglers, because we talked about this out of LCS a little bit before, in that some of the junglers come into lane and steal more depending on what kind of mid they have. If that mid's a roamer, how is that going to affect these guys' compositions coming in?
Yeah, so you look at the far reach of the support lane, and it's like Insect from KT Roaster B. He's usually like the top farm on the entire team. And then you look at someone who's full support, like either the Odd One or Nintendo X in this league, and these guys are kind of a mix between that. Chouster, I would say, is more on the supportive side, where he is going to just spam ganks, especially the champion is on Jarvan, is not very fast at farming, whereas Lauda is a little bit more towards the carry side. His game on Shen, he was actually trying to turn himself into a carry Shen by the end of that game. So much farm and split push. Amumu is capable of farming at that level.
Yeah.
It's not carry level farm, but it's definitely up there in the graph of carry farm, if we could make one.
All right, we'll have to see how Lauda how Chouster both work with Link and Chuper respectively on that mid lane, and how this game goes as we start off your 4th match of the day, Complexity versus Counter Logic Gaming here in the LCS Week 7. It has been flying by, and absolutely amazing games throughout the entire time. It looks like we're going to have the human wards being set up here, everybody actually grabbing some for themselves. Hotshot GG expecting the 2v1 lane actually grabs 2 wards up and the potions for himself to the fort pot of Nick Wu, who looks like they're going by one-on-one here.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to think that we are in Week 7. You look at, like, Dignitas's record, they're, what, like 16-5?
Yeah.
Like, they played 21 games already of the 28 from this split. That is absolutely insane. You even think back to, like, the very first week of the year.
Yeah.
The very first game when CLG stole TSM's blue buff with the Syndra over the wall, and they had, like, 7 or 8 wards, and then after that, they're like, yeah, I don't think we needed that many wards, guys. I think we could have done it with a little bit less. And, you know, the game has changed a fair bit since then.
All right, looks like we're going to get Aphromoo's mic turned up a little bit. It's a little too quiet for the team. That's what they're dealing with right now. You can see them on the end. Just going to go ahead, reach under, and give him some volume there. This could be good. So, actually looking at this with BrunchU, I haven't really seen him on Ezreal too much. He has the Caitlyn, and like, you know, they just were saying, Dignitas was, once you have that Caitlyn, you have the lane win, and that's what Brunch is used to. What is, you know, can having that Ezreal and not having that comfort really throw you out?
He's going to have to be a little bit careful against Double Lift and Aphromoo because he doesn't have the brawl potential, and because they're playing with his support Elise, right? Like, Elise is a very aggressive support, so he's going to have to judge extremely well where and when he goes in with those arcane shifts. So, like, BrunchU is the type of player who would be very strong at Ezreal. He has a huge amount of faith in his mechanics. Like, way back when CLG was searching for supports, BrunchU was actually going to be like the Aphromoo of CLG, and he wanted to play a support. And he took a lot of pride. This is BrunchU of being one of the few people who wasn't called terrible.
But
that's a compliment for Double Lift, but he does have that latent confidence or hidden confidence in him. Is latent even a word? I don't think so.
Latency.
Upsetting the apple tree.
Upsetting the apple cart.
Yeah, the apple cart.
Indeed. Absolutely. So as we get back into this one, we are well underway. We've seen, as Complexity has a Mumu, they do wait for a little bit, but then they drop down a hailstorm of wards to protect him in the early jungle, because that's obviously what a Mumu loves to have. So we'll see if they do that. The two are already in the bottom. We should see the one in the Wraiths coming here soon.
And one of Complexity's gimmicks in a lot of these games is a hyper early dragon.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons they dump so many wards for Mumu, just to begin with, because they're defending him, they take the other advantage of, if they know where everyone on CLG is, they can get all the ward money back by taking an early dragon.
See what they position for. Everybody's just really playing it safe. If anything, Link's just going to catch an eye on somebody. Will he get a ward over here if he goes? No, he's just using some Lucent Singularity for vision as they back off. Nick Wu's not even going to get eyes on that, so. Neither the wiser as we begin the game. Golem's going up 2. Looks like Nick Wu up top. Trooper's going to take a little bit of that experience as well from it.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a different start, right? You very rarely see a jungler start double golems for Ledamortis. So if he goes red buff after this, like, I really wonder if they're trying anything creative or if this is just like a prediction because they thought CLG were invade or something. It does look fairly normal. Maybe it's because Nick Wu can solo Wraiths easier than double golems and they want to give Zed an early level 2 up top without sacrificing himself. That's probably it now that I think about it, but it was still a bit of an odd change.
So we do have some pings up top, knowing that there are wards placed there, so it's going to be safe entry to the lane on both sides. Actually, it looks like Nick Wu maybe trying to get some early aggression down as he comes to the lane. No, he does not throw out a little bit of damage. And they play it safe. Ledamortis now making his way over to the blue. He definitely has a rush here. Well, he didn't go for Wraith, so he has a bit of speed on Chowster.
Yeah, and also because he got so much help with the rest of his jungler, he has plenty of mana for this. This is actually a better route for mana-heavy junglers if you can get away with it. If you can get blue second, since most of them start blue first, you will have the blue for longer, and it also screws up the other team's timing when they're going to invade you. So that is a good jungle play from Ledamortis at the start of the game.
So Complexity already starting a little bit different here than usual on their strategy. We'll see if CLG can pick up on this or if it even affects them. Link getting that passive damage onto Trooper, but Trooper is just going straight on stacking those fervors, and he got some good damage out. Chowster looks to get a gank in mid, though.
Yeah, he really wants to punish Trooper's early aggression here, and with good reason because he's harassing him down a lot. There's the fight bottom.
So hard as well. It could be a gank mid and bottom here. Double if that gets jumped on. That's the aggression we were talking about from that Elise support, but forced to flash away now. Chowster still winning in the wing and mid, but the kill for Brunchu. First blood. Can he get the attack? He goes back in. One more. Oh, he uses the bush so well. Brunchu coming up with MIA.
Oh my goodness, the split damage between those guys, and uh-oh, here comes Jarvan.
Oh, flag toss through the head of Brunchu. He's going to hit him once more. He could pick up a double kill. This would be huge for Chowster of the jungle. He will be able to. Now the minions kept the attacks going.
Oh my god, double lifts poison since Deadly Venom lasts 6 seconds. It had been like 20 seconds since Double Lift had died, but it's a 15-second timer for the last time you received damage. So he thought he was executing and denying Chowster a kill, but he actually just traded one back and made that awesome double kill at the start of the game not count for nearly as much.
Ledamortis waiting here. They know they need to make some moves. 2 and 2. There's been a lot of aggression. Ledamortis, like you said, having that blue buff a little later, which means his red buff is going to run out early, so that initial toss into the fight is going to have to be a good one. They have to get some good positioning out of it. Just a little bit of gold is actually going in favor of Complexity coming off of those here. Just ready, about 5 minutes in there, looking for Hotshot.
Luckily, Hotshot's ward caught the tail end of that, so he's actually trying to bait out a little bit of a gank, and he's completely spoiled Ledamortis' time here. He's not even getting low from this.
Ledamortis just putting on a little bit more harass. We'll see how long he stays up here. Chowster looks like they may want to put this back onto Nick Wu. There is some good damage as well there coming from the Shard of Hotshot GG.
Yeah, and there's a lot of creeps here, which actually tells me that I don't want to go in on this, but this will be telling whether Chowster decides to wait out and farm that lane, would say whether Hotshot or Chowster is going to be a bit more of a carry. Since Chowster left that lane so early, it shows that he's really just looking to support his lanes.
So you see a lot of wards actually going down. Complexity putting a good amount of consideration on even pink warding their lane brushes in this matchup to make sure they have that advantage in the bottom lane. Like we said, Brunchu doesn't have his Caitlyn, so he feels a little out of comfort. Good flash by Trooper in mid as he's just dodging out everything.
Yeah, but at least he burned the flash, and there's no wards left in Complexity's river right there. So if Chowster repeats the gank, which he probably knows that there's no ward since the first gank forced the flash anyway, Trooper will have to play extremely cautious because he has no idea where Jarvan is.
And that's exactly what Chowster is using to his advantage. He's roaming, trying to deny those resources in the jungle. Ledamortis actually on the bottom side, though, so with Chowster not finding anything, he will kind of pause in mid for a second and head back to the jungle. Like you said, he's not one to continuously look for his farm. He's continuously looking for that lane help for his team.
I mean, you can look at it. 15 farm right now. 6 minutes into the game. He's definitely not becoming a carry Jarvan. He's all about the utility in the ultimate right now, whereas you look at Loudamortis, he's farmed a bit more, but he's bought a heap load of wards. That pink is most likely going towards the dragon area, and they might look to take control of that right now. Or very
early dragon you were calling. We see the siege push here from mid. Now they have Lux actually backing. We'll have to see if they decide to go down towards dragon. They have the vision of that. They will not. They're just going to keep going slow and steady. Wins the race here. Comes MIA taking a lot of damage. It's going to keep ticking from Doublelift, but they choose not to go aggro here.
Yeah, we'll see how Doublelift has made his way back into this lane, because Complexity is a little bit stuck in this side of the lane just because they've been pushed up for so long. But because of the harass that MIA took right there, he's going to take a bit to get back. He did go Philosopher's Stone early because he knows he has no sustain and needs to spam a little bit extra for that regen, but Doublelift did a pretty good job, 37 to 43, considering they got double killed at level 2.
Yep.
This lane could have gone much worse.
So he has gone for that double Doran's against the Scepter. We'll have to see how that works out for them, as Lulu and Elise not really throwing out the heals. So he can really staying on that lane. Chalister going for his golem, so he's down in the bottom lane for a possible lane gank here coming up in the next few minutes. Loudamortis has not gotten that pink ward down yet, so they realize that they're not in a position yet to do that. And we actually see, looks like CLG has their mind on it.
And historically, CLG has been a team that doesn't want to fight very often. But since they're down in gold already this game, you know, they will have to probably make some plays. They're clearing out some wards here. That is a pretty good pink ward. It tips Complexity off to know that they can't really go for an unspotted dragon since that pink ward was placed. But the laning phase has actually gone pretty substantially to Complexity up to this point. It's almost 1,000 gold right now.
Loudamortis with that ultimate, yes, he actually does have it over Chalister. This could be a good fight for them to force, but I think everybody may get what they need before it actually gets to happen. Nick Wu and Hotshot trading some damage up top. I think they're going to get coL blue first and then possibly try to pressure this dragon. They need to get some damage on this bottom lane, though.
Yeah, this game is sneaking into a very dangerous situation for CLG.
Loudamortis.
Like, I think CLG is actually pretty comfortable with where they are right now, since, yes, they gave up the double kill early, bottom, and they're like, well, we got it back, and we're going to lane, and we have Twitch and Malphite, so we're good. But Complexity is winning the lanes. If that flash stun would have landed from MIA, that would have been trouble for Doublelift, but since it didn't, I think they can survive. Here's a teleport, though, from Hotshot.
Hotshot coming in all the way to the bottom. He is 7. He does have that ultimate up, waiting for MIA to get in vision. He may not even need it. He actually does use the Unstoppable Force. One last ground slam to take out the damage.
That patience from CLG, and then the ability to just snap their fingers and make it happen. MIA using the flash, huge mistake. He could have maybe gotten a kill for Doublelift, but as soon as he used that flash, since he was at that point in the lane, and since they already knew there was a vision ward in that brush, if they would have thought a bit ahead, they knew Hotshot could collapse down with the teleport, and that's exactly what Hotshot did.
Loudamortis hovering over that dragon in the bottom lane. They do not have the pink to clear anymore. They look to capitalize on a kill here on Link, possibly get that blue buff that they're looking for to get onto Trooper. He gets the minion. Oh! Link still flashes, though. He was afraid of that curse.
Yeah, he did not want to get ulted. I mean, you get hit by an Amumu ultimate, he will combo with Bandage, and it's 4 seconds of lockdown that they just do not want to be involved with. So it was the safety flash. CLG very clearly has the mindset of not really wanting to fight unless they have a guaranteed success, and that's the big reason he flashed away so easily.
Probably see Loudamortis coming back into mid here as he has just written another gank for that lane. But it's going to be a push from Lux. She knows she's going back. Link's going to buy himself some time and some items here, probably picking up the Chalice. We have seen the Morello Namicon, however, coming out for some of these AP mids. He goes for Cage's lucky pick right off the bat there.
Yeah, he's just going for the farm out lane at this point, right? He's picked up 2 wards on Lux, so he's just going to be wanting to ward up both sides and prevent against the Amumu ganks coming through. Loudamortis has to walk through the river to get into the mid lane. It's like the mid lane is pretty much the only lane you can't do lane ganks in, so that's the best lane to just sit back and farm with.
Hotshot still trying to push up top. Very formidable on Malphite, as you said before, coming into this matchup. And he's still keeping it kind of that, just that Doran's build, keeping it very slow and steady, not trying to get any big items just yet because he can't. Brutalizer on Nick Wu, and he's really just mitigating that with the defense.
Yeah, and in this bot lane, you can see Chauster has the pink ward down. He knows that the other pink ward is there, so he has to somehow find a gank from within that brush. But Complexity knows the situation in the lane. They know it's going to push back, and they just end up backing away. This is very anti-aggressive by CLG. They're very much not playing the fighting game right now.
at that point where they can't really have Hotshot and Chowster to just dive in for them, double lift on the outside. They have a great fight setup. I really believe, though, if Complexity can dive past it, they don't have enough peel to keep them off. They're missing once more. Double lift, however, gets caught in the cocoon. They're going to stick on this. True Shot Barrage goes right through the Lulu Wild Growth and the cleanse to save him. A lot wasted for that bottom lane.
The speedy cleanse there from Doublelift. The big thing is Loudamortis forced all that stuff out without using his Amumu ultimate. So the only thing they really burned there was the Ezreal ultimate, which usually Ezreal's just burned to kill creep waves anyway. So this would be a moment for Complexity to go and pull the dragon out. Doublelift's not there. Hotshot's teleport is down, and it would be either on Chowster to steal because the fight here is very hard for CLG to engage on.
They just lost vision on it. Chowster trying to get around from the side. Loosen Singularity is going to give them vision in the den. They lose it again. Chowster is in vision. No, Lux is able to get it. Nice job by Link, and they will just retreat with the gold.
And that is the chance you take when you try to go up against Lux. I was thinking Chowster, but CLG was thinking Link. So that was a great steal by him. He comboed the E and the R, and Complexity played a dangerous game, went for the smite steal instead of baiting out the E time on Link, and he just got it stolen.
So Loudamortis probably not too happy about that. Like we said, Complexity is one to focus on an early dragon. A toss over the Baron Pit could mean bad things for Nick Wu here. Bad news bears in the top lane. Hotshot is ready and waiting. He's not showing too much aggression here. He's kind of just saying, no, don't worry. Chowster is not right behind you. He actually is just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, and this is the vision that Nick Wu has. There it goes.
There it is. Unstoppable Force onto. He thinks he's all right, so he starts to turn, and then he sees Chowster, tries to dash onto him. He knows they're going to have to tank this one. He may have the ability to get one of them to go down. There it is. Hotshot actually getting stuck in the ultimate. Oh, Chowster trying to help. Hotshot's forced out of this one, and here comes Trooper from mid lane. They could capitalize on this. The double kills to come from this gank. Oh my gosh, no, don't walk away yet. He is going to have to flash for that last Q, and they go 1-for-1.
Oh no, Chowster was helping Hotshot so much on that gank, and he helped him right into the grave. So, oh no, Hotshot, GG, and Chowster. That was not the coordination they wanted. At the start of that gank, I was actually ready to congratulate them on like a really good Unstoppable Force flash.
Patient wait.
Because Hotshot could have like tried to ult in straight on Nick Wu, but Nick Wu probably would have reactively dodged it. But because Hotshot flashed and then ulted, he gave Nick Wu less of a chance to dodge out, and it totally worked. But then they messed up the rest of it, and then Hotshot needed this flash to escape at the end. So oh no.
Chowster was so worried about getting out, he forgot to close down his ultimate, and saw Hotshot standing there. Please, Chowster, please. 14 minutes as we come up onto that mark. 3-4 here. Well, even all on gold after all of this back and forth. Just about 700. Oh, Loudamortis just missing a bandage tosses. Alframu steps to the side. He's going to be able to put down a bit of damage, but that's just going to give him vision of the jungler here. And we'll see if CLG can make any plays on this.
And I don't think Loudamortis has used his ultimate in 14 minutes. He's really waiting for the right moment. It is on that gargantuan 2.5-minute cooldown, so he's really trying to find the right window. It could be coming up pretty soon here if Trooper decides to go in, but CLG again disengaging.
Link taking a nice shot on the turret there. Trooper with that blue buff to himself right now. Looks like he is actually going to have that. He just got that, as they are going to now give one to Link, back to the mid lanes, getting sieged down, and that's really where CLG kind of can be comfortable late game, as they always are. They have Lux for the siege, they have Twitch for that late game, just safety poke in the back line when you have Chowster and Hotshot jump in. So Complexity, I feel, kind of needs to make some moves here to pressure that.
It's really strange, because normally against CLG, you're always thinking, yeah, they're going to win the late game, because Doublelift will get super farmed and they'll go, but like Nick Wu on Zed, if he gets the right stuff on a Doublelift, he will kill him, right? And at that point, they'd have a Malphite left who's under-farmed compared to his lane adversary, Nick Wu, and Link, who Lux late game actually isn't that amazing once the other team gets a Runic Bulwark, right? So Complexity, if they coordinate right late game, which has been a problem for them this far in the LCS, they have a good team composition. coL is great late game. Ezreal is actually one of the best AD carries you can have, just due to the overall mobility and slipperiness later on. All the % health damage on MIA's Elise as well will factor in, so it's like, yes, Complexity usually would feel pressure against CLG, but I don't know if they do in this circumstance.
And I wonder who's going to build everything, because they have such a pretty cool lineup here with Nick Wu up top, Loudamortis, they have MIA in the bottom. Where's the Locket? Where's that, that bulwark going to come from? Because it looks like Spirit of the Ancient Golem's going to be finished first for Loudamortis, and then he'll start to build probably a Locket.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Even the Doran Shield coming out for Loudamortis is like a little bit hyper regen. He's got tons of those ward slots. He is the person who has to build those items, right? So He's probably going... Oh, here we go. I think it's just happened. MIA has went double gold per 10 and no Sightstone, so he's going to build one of them, and I think Latimortis is going to get the other. As opposed to the regular jungle setup where, like for Chowster, he's probably going to end up building both at some point.
All right, so yeah, we see the Kindle Gem on him already. Trying to get that Locket of the Iron Solari up so they can get into that fight mode with Hotshot GG. See him just farming in that top lane. Chuper Latimortis representing in mid. Double lift and Afromir trying to push back MIA and Brunch in bottom lane here. 126 to 122, quite even there. Both of the supports kind of going for the same amount of items besides that Sightstone we just talked about. The gold generation coming out a bit more here towards the late part of the season.
Yeah, we're really seeing that trend picking up. I know Edward was one of the first people I saw doing, but Elements has been doing it forever as well. And Hotshot probably not getting Dove here, but we'll see what happens.
At least Complexity, this is good for them. They can roam like that and kind of pressure. They did a little different there. They didn't have the wave they wanted to get the damage on the turret, but bottom lane double lift in that pink ward actually kind of causes them to take some damage.
Little oopsie there from double lift. He was trying to be sneaky playing. He got caught out by Spiderweb and had to back up, but that was not a good thing. And now the push is double solo laners from Complexity up top, and Chowster's trying to hold back. So if a fight breaks out, Complexity's on an edge here. They're really trying to pressure down that turret. Latimortis getting caught in his jungle as well.
Latimortis gets hit up on the bottom side, misses the Lucent Singular, or Light Binding rather, as they kind of run into 3. The pink ward lets them know where they are. They take top turret, they're going to back on the top side as well. It looks like CLG is kind of on their heels right now. Complexity needs to continue to pressure this.
Yeah, it's the big thing. They drew Chowster up top lane, and Link didn't have any pressure elsewhere because he was worried about Latimortis. Ideally, CLG should be pushing mid in this situation, but now the teleport home guard comes in, they're going for it.
Teleport home guard, he pauses the flash. Wow, there is the Wombo combo, not even on the screen. Hotshot is just going to be a tank and push these guys out with brute force. Doesn't even care there's a turret, gets the wild growth under the turret. He is just going for Latimortis. They may actually be able to take this out, and they do get him. Link finalizes the kill.
CLG tired of getting chased around. Yeah. They just went for it. Yes, the home guard teleport got slightly interrupted, but Hotshot brilliantly landed that ultimate, flash ultimate onto Brunch like max range. He closed from like 2,000 units away, and then Complexity took a mid-turret to counter. We might see the action continue with Dragon, though.
Oh, he gets the shard down, stealing that movement speed, but he gets it back. Nick Wu trying to play mind games. He will take the shadow and walk out safely.
So Latimortis is still down. CLG does have all 5 members here, but they are down almost all of their ultimates. It's just Chowster's and Link's that is up. Complexity looks like they want to harass this, but they only have 3 people here.
They don't have Smite as well. Latimortis is in the back. Chowster knows that. They go for the fight. Intervention is on. The Lux Laser is used. It does not look like they're able to grab Dragon as Link picks it up. Nick Wu tries to flash over the wall. He gets stuck in. MIA is there as well. That True Shot Barrage did a whole lot of damage. And here comes Brunch U. Can they clean up enough?
Yeah, I think they can. They got 3 of the 5 CLG members. It cost them a Dragon, but that kill, maybe because the bounties is pretty much equal, right? Dragon gives 975, kills give an average of 450, so that is pretty much a straight trade since it was 3 for 1. This game's close, man. CLG still clinging, well, Complexity still clinging to the lead. CLG still slightly behind.
Absolutely. We'll take stock of what's on the scoreboard, what's in the inventories. 6 to 7 at 19 minutes in here. 1,700 gold separates these teams. Again, Hotshot not really getting a core item yet, but piecing together his recipes, trying to get that, gets the Glacial Shroud, gets that Giant's Belt in there. He gets the Dorans, as he's been loving lately in the early part of the game.
Yeah.
And then some few core items as well for Complexity.
And that Hotshot build is something he does a lot of. Like, he is in love with building item components, and the fact that he's completed his home guard boots so quickly just tells you the strategy CLG is using him for. It's about the home guard teleports. If he wanted to finish an item right now, he could have at the expense of those home guard boots, but they decided against it. Now they're pushing up mid, trying to get some turrets back.
That Locket finished as well. Rabadon's onto Link. A huge burst of damage there. Oh, great intervention to cancel that. We've seen that multiple times. Just using it. Blown up for MIA, just out of position there after the turret goes down, and CLG is going to capitalize on this.
Yeah, that Infinity Edge Twitch kind of snuck up on him right there. He didn't realize what he was getting destroyed by, and CLG got the turret and then some. Now they're trying to get a little bit more. Like, they lost the outer ring of turrets already, and they're really storming to try to get them back as Complexity is pushing mid as well. CLG's going to have to make a decision real fast.
This is something the teams have been talking about as well. If someone's pushing, you have to try and dictate the game or stop that push. And Complexity feels like they can dictate the game. They've gotten one to go back, but they're going to grab a second turret here on the mid. Mid is the shortest lane, the fastest to push down, and CLG is pushing one of the longer ones.
Yeah, so Complexity has sent back their support, whereas CLG has set back Link. They do not have creeps yet, but CLG has a whole just monster army of them. Let's see which one has a better trade, because this is turning into a base race.
Absolutely. You got Lux, the siege clearer of waves here. Yeah, they might be able to push her out, but you're going to be able to just queue a minion wave, turn into Spider as Elise, and you can see they're just pushing down on a Nick Wu, going in. Link trying to force back. Oh, the Q gets him. I didn't think it was going to have enough.
But on the other side, CLG is just free pushing. Like, no way MII can stop it. It's the inhibitor down, and Complexity has to go back.
Complexity is backing inside the base of CLG. They have all the vision they need to get out safely or continue this battery of the base. You can see Nick Wu trying to turn aerodynamic mode and just beast it out with home guards, but they are too late.
It's the decision-making team-wide for Complexity. It's the second game today here where they haven't made the right call when they're trading bases. They lost their inhibitor and a Nexus turret for almost nothing in their game against GGU. And this time it was a turret for 2 turrets and an inhibitor plus a kill, so definitely not worth it. CLG, gotta say they took control of this game. Getting an inhibitor at 21 minutes for almost nothing is huge. Complexity can't really leave their base. For the next 5 minutes while that inhibitor's down, here's a big power play. This is desperation. There's also no wards around. They got double pinks in there. I wonder if they can get this.
I think they might actually be able to get it. If Link does not walk any closer right now, it's going to be Twitch and Link. They're actually helping each other get blue. Complexity can completely get this Baron. They're going to have to be very careful on the exit, though. If there's any vision, and here it comes from a hot shot. He is coming in from the bottom side. This ultimate could be terrible and for Complexity. Is he going to choose it? No. They say they have Baron. We may not be able to fight.
They're quite low for Baron as well. You can see the fallback pings. There's no way Complexity wants to deal with this one. What a gutsy call. I mean, that was a really good decision, actually. They've made a couple bad ones, but that was great by Complexity. They knew they had the vision control. Look at all the pink wards they put down before that. And they're going to get away with this one. Now if CLG wants to fight, as long as Complexity makes it back in time, I think Complexity would have the upper hand in the battle.
We see as well, Brunchu maybe going for that Triforce if he doesn't choose to go the other branch. We'll see Ezreal kind of picking that up twice here in this week of the LCS. That Triforce coming back into play for the AD carries. 8-7, 23 minutes in. Complexity finally finding a little bit of ground after having it at the beginning of the game. CLG kind of got fed up from what we saw from 15 to 20 minutes, and now Complexity pulls out a sneaky Baron, but CLG still feels confident enough to just continue to push.
Yeah, and Complexity really needs to get 5 people together if they want to fight. Loudamortis is looking aggressive, and CLG knows they have the numbers edge.
They have intervention right on the other side. Loudamortis is taking a good amount of burst. They may say they're all right. He flashes the Cataclysm, so they've wasted that. Loudamortis has a bit less effective at the initiation if he misses that bandage toss now, so fights are a bit harder for them.
They still might want to go, though. I mean, they know they kind of want to do something. You were almost never in a situation this early into the game where you're down an inhibitor but up a Baron. So really both teams are in uncharted territories right here. The overall gold lead is close, but that Nexus turret is a constant defense mechanism for Complexity. Like, they have to continually send people back here, which will give CLG like map control, but they can only take their map control so far, because if they get caught in a 5v5 fight, they'd probably lose.
We'll have to see what they can do. We've seen Nick Wu put up double-digit numbers on Zed, and he right now, 223 farm, is the most farmed in the game. Blade of the Rune King, 9,000 gold to his name. The closest behind him is 8,800. So he's actually 9,100. So he himself is a huge force to be reckoned with right now. A 3-0-1 coL behind him. Chuper and Nick Wu can position perfectly in these fights. They'll be able to get double lift in no time.
Ooh, Link just stole that one away. It was actually just a feeling, because there was no wards inside there. He's like, they're probably doing blue right now. Boop.
That's
gonna get you.
Super crazy. Coming up with that, it's going to be kind of big for them. Chuper's going to be looking for that to keep the consistent chase down in their fights. Looks like they're going to go topside here and try to dictate, this is what we were saying before, dictate the game from where the other team is, and they're going to make Complexity have to move all the way to the other side. Yeah,
look how fast CLG is running up to that one. Complexity, again, getting caught up in the objective game and maybe losing what really matters in their turrets, but I think they're going to be able to get back a little bit. I don't think they can get to this turret. Link is trying to get a pick off on the walk. Misses Brunchu with his skill shots, but the turret, you can see CLG doesn't really want to fight this. They know Complexity still's got a minute left on that Baron.
Yeah, there it is, the back flag toss, or the bandage toss into the Curse of the Sad Mummy. NickWoo could continue to go in, but he gets stuck up there. Misses the damage with intervention from Final Spark, but can they continue to get the damage down? NickWoo taken out. Chuper in the backside trying to take down Chowster with Brunch. They are doing a great job at zoning, but CLG has kept some damage on the backside. That's where Link is. If he can get that damage out, he will be able to clean this up, but they are forced out. Complexity found their way around the brush in that fight to come out with a win.
That's a 4-for-1, and that's the Baron talking right there, right? It wasn't even the prettiest of initiations.
Yeah.
It was an Amumu on 1. They got shredded by the final spark from Link's Lux, and 4-for-1 because they are still up in gold. They were up in gold before that. They had the AD, the AP, the regen from Baron, and that was just great for them.
That also a scary fight as they come out with very low health, which tells us it's going to be a while to work back into this. When you're that low, you can't push any turrets. The fight was won, though. Once they have it next time, we'll have a few more core items coming in as the Triforce now finished. Oh, my MIA! That is obliteration right there. The combo from Lux goes down. You can see MIA just not enjoying that on his screen. Link is just completely focused, not even an emotion from that.
Yeah, and actually, if they want to stop that from happening, they have to get to the Runic Bulwark. Because we talked earlier about Complexity's items, and we're like, well, I feel like the Aegis and the Runic Bulwark are going to get traded between Ledamortis and MIA, but that hasn't happened yet.
None of them.
They have neither of those items, so the burst combo from Lux is unstoppable at this moment, whereas Chowster has gotten the aura items, right? He's got an Aegis and a Locket of the Iron Solari, and Hotshot has a Frozen Heart. So now with the Baron's gone, even though CLG lost that fight, CLG will look pretty good in the next fight on account of having substantially more aura items. And the fact Double Lift has big-time items compared to just the Bloodthirst or Trinity Force on Ezreal.
Absolutely. PD Infinity Edge putting out that max damage. You'd be looking for a Hotshot under the turret here. A bit of a good initiation, and they forced a few ultimates from each side. Looks like Chuper likes the initiation here. If they got a Q on a Double Lift, that would have been some pain for him.
And that did show that Hotshot's Frozen Heart, despite having the Giant's Belt, is needing some help. You can have 218 armor, plus another like 25% when he activates his W, but he's only sitting on 64 magic resistance. Hotshot will need to get some MR. He's not getting there yet because Chuper will shred him down, and that's the big thing that will unlock Brunch U to fight in team fights as well. If they get Hotshot out of the way, Brunch U will clean through and carry. We'll see how that works.
I'm interested to see how CLG uses the effectiveness of their shields in this next fight, because it really does counter Complexity well. A lot of their damage is that boom, burst damage, we'll wait a few cooldowns, boom, burst damage, and that's what shields are perfect for. You have the Lux back and forth, and Alpha moves as well. So.
Yeah, and if we just think back to that last team fight, Double Lift barely died.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they really dove onto him hard. NickWoo used everything. They even KO-ulted NickWoo on his approach because there was so much Double Lift protection going on. Just barely got him, right? So now we've got a red elixir, right? The Lulu ultimate hit level 11 as well, so it will be giving extra health. It's now 450 health that Wild Growth is going to be adding on to Double Lift's Twitch when he ults. So this is going to be very interesting, right? Like, Complexity, such an inconsistent team, and I'd have to say CLG is the same. This is not a game people expected Complexity to
what's weird?
upset,
you know what's weird about it is it seems like Complexity, like you said, inconsistent. They know what to do when they're down just a little bit, but then they get back into the spot where they're ahead, and they're like, this is kind of new territory, right? It's kind of like watching the game yesterday when both GGU and Vulcan, they were pushing the split lanes, and they got the towers down, they got the second towers down, and they're like, whoa. This is new territory. Yeah,
and let's see how they're trying to explore Baron here, too, because MA's got the Oracles. They only cleared up one ward, and they are reactive to what CLG is doing right now. They're going to have to take the initiative here. Ledamortis is just searching for that bandage toss, but they're trying to clear out the rest of the wards. Complexity's lost a lot of these mind games in the past. Also, Chowster is just talked up so much about his ability to outplay the other teams in the mid-game. And now as we move into late game, let's see if CLG can just use their tactics to overcome Complexity here, because clearly Complexity wins in straight up team fights. So CLG really has to outplay in order to win this game.
And this has been such a mental game for these teams here. 30 minutes in, it's 12-9, so there has been some kills, but each fight you can almost see what the players are thinking. Right here, obviously, confidence in CLG. We're tanking right in front of some of your biggest damage dealers, and then we're just going to go ahead and casually walk away. So these guys are the mind games constantly.
Yeah, and Chuper actually 4-0-4, right? A lot of people give him a lot of flack for the Chuper's bloopers, but he hasn't had them this game, and he's got a really powerful kill build right now. He's got the potential with that Deathfire Grasp, since Hotshot has no magic resist, to just end him at the start and really wipe out a lot of CLG's front line, which would let the rest of their non-tank line team deal the damage. So I cannot wait to see this team fight come out. Like, they're clearing a lot of wards. CLG's really trying to position well, and I think we could see it real soon.
Missing out. They know they're trying to deny the vision here. Loudamortis needs to be that initiator. It's been a few times Nick Wu with the intervention, but that initial burst needs to come from Loudamortis. They need to have to focus him. He gets caught up on the binding, and that definitely thwarts a bit of an attack there. Loudamortis is in. He flashes for the ulti going. Where is going to be Nick Wu? Nick Wu is just on the outside. MIA is the focus. He's going to go down. Double kill for Link. Nick Wu gets the intervention finally, but he's just not able to focus. Oh my gosh, Doublelift explodes. That's what they needed right there. He goes for Chester. Nick Wu is just going ham right now, but it's too much. The triple kill coming in for Link. He can do it if he can keep going here, and it looks like they're going to have to stop it there. No, Hotshot takes a Mystic shot.
And Brunchu is still just poking around. He's gone for it, I think.
Oh, man. One more shot from Hotshot. No, he keeps it there. No mana. This is going to be a complete walkout. The Mystic shot, the auto attack, and he picks up a final one before the ace.
Wow, he actually gets Link, but that was still a really good team fight for CLG. Loudamortis really tunnel vision trying to get into that one. And I have to say, as a team, they really wanted to kill the rat. They had to stop it down, but they couldn't quite get there. Yes, they killed Doublelift, but it cost them so much. Like, even Chuper was going in on that, and that did not allow the peel for Brunchu to get off. Hotshot was giving him trouble the entire time. They took him down low enough. The shield power and the timing of the knock-up to Doublelift's flash away right as the Z ult landed from Nick Wu. I feel like should have saved Doublelift, but he ended up dying anyway. That was a really crazy fight, and I have to say CLG's execution was exquisite there.
So 14-4, the game just got tied up from 12-9 as we copied it out at 30 minutes. So that fight absolutely huge in a minute, or just 2 minutes. We see what happens. CLG kind of turning things on the head of Complexity. They still have about a 4,000 gold lead as they're just trying to push every lane right now, with that objective being back up with Baron, though. Complexity takes down Dragon and tries to free up that comfort zone for the fight.
And Hotshot's got even more armor coming into this fight, right? He's got Frozen Heart and Sunfire Cape. But Brunchu is countering with the Last Whisper. And Chuper could beat Hotshot if he fought him there, but they don't know where the rest of each other's teams are, so they just walk away from each other.
So looking around, the Randuin's actually finished, still not going for any type of Aegis Bulwark on the side of Complexity here. They just feel like beasting it out with health is going to be the answer, or winning the fight before they go down, which is actually a very scary premise to fight on.
And it is a little strange, right? Because like Hotshot is technically a magic damage champion, when Link's burst is hitting everyone on Complexity, since Complexity is diving in pretty much in a straight line. And this is another one of these mind games that's approaching here for Complexity. They're clearing with Oracles. That Lux ult chunked them, and the pressure is there from Hotshot's split push. That is an exposed inhibitor in that lane. So unless Complexity reacts really quickly, they're either giving up Baron control or they're giving up their base. Let's see what they decide.
Hotshot has that teleport. He is more than happy to be split push GG right now, and it looks like he is going to be putting pressure on that inhibitor, or the inhibitor turret in mid will actually get a little bit of relief as the rest of Complexity starts to transfer over, and Hotshot pushed off of that. So they're definitely starting to dictate here, and it may just get Baron.
Yeah, and they only have no wards to control that. I was going to think they have pink wards, so they have oracles.
Won't be getting Baron.
They got none of those things. And that's going to make it so CLG can't completely control the Baron area yet. I kind of expect them on this next back to get some vision control there. Yet there's the Oracles on Aphromoo. So they're going to be wanting to go for the Baron. And Trooper wants to get Hotshot here. Nope.
Oh, not enough to get into the bush to take him out. Trooper just heading back to lane with a frown on his face. We see CLG rather, moving out of their base. Jouster not really picking up too many different items, or too many more items for himself. Still Twitch, the PD, Infinity Edge, and Last Whisper to that Triforce and Bloodthirster. It seems like he's been sitting on that for quite a long time, actually. He has 900 gold, so.
Yeah, and we were joking earlier, Riv, about you and me always getting the good games, because we're looking at these ones just like CLG versus Complexity. Oh, you guys get that? We're like, no, D-Man, it's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a damn good game.
No, it's going to be a good game. And here we go, 14-14, 34 minutes in. A gold lead for Complexity, but a turret lead for CLG, and the pressure really being in their hands. Anything could happen in this game at any moment. Doublelift's getting super farmed. Link's got a huge Lux build. They have so many auras on CLG, whereas Complexity has a Moo, right? They have the initiation, they have Zed, and they have the inexperience, but kind of just craziness. They make kind of bad decisions that might catch CLG off guard in these situations, and now they're pushing up mid. Vladimortis just gets a good bandage. They probably will win this, and if they get a clean team fight this late into the game, either team could push right for the Nexus.
If you consider that last fight, Vladimortis was maybe 20% health when he actually went in for the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and they still came out on top that fight. Ooh, MIA taking a bit of damage there, and you can see that's even without that Lux passive on. So if they get into that situation, it's going to spell bad news.
Yeah, and it's weird. MIA's got 9,200 gold flow, right? He's actually went for like Sorcerer Shoes and a Haunting Guise instead of the Aura items, right? So he's going to have to make that stuff work. Like, if MIA isn't able to close on a double lift, because I think he's trying to tag team with Nick Wu in these fights, if he can't clear out double lift with that Elise Magic Pen build, I'm going to go and say it would have backfired by then. But here's the Luxalt just poking them down, and CLG looks like they have an open chance at an inhibitor here, and they're the ones forcing this engagement.
Nidalee Spears 2013 turns into Final Spark. One after the other. Link continues to poke everybody down. He's probably got that on that 24-second cooldown. Looks like they could be going in here, going for the inhibitor. They push back. It's a slow and steady one here. Oh, Vladimortis just misses, but they're going to go in onto him. Kind of trading back and forth here. They are going to do it. Curse of the Sad Mummy on 4 of the entire team. Chowster is helping in the backside. Leaves up Cataclysm. Can they get to the back line? Nick Wu does a bit of damage. Hotshot could be the next to fall. A double kill coming in from the Final Spark. Chowster says, let's go. Chowster backing off a bit. Brunshu dodges that out with the Arcane Shift, and Complexity holds off quite well there.
CLG flexing as Chowster gets destroyed by the Nick Wu Shadow, and they're going!
Wow, double lift going down quite fast. They knew it's not going to be too much of a loss on their base. Hotshot is in the backside. One hit onto Brunch. It's going to be Vladimortis. He will have the shard to keep Vladimortis there, and you can see he kind of throws himself in the fire for Nick Wu.
And back and forth and back again here. They're getting the inhibitor. That does turn into a 4-2. Hotshot just man-moding at the end in front of 3 people. CLG doesn't have the creeps, but they're going to get this inhibitor again. And Nick Wu wants to brawl, but I think he's outnumbered.
He may be. The shields are just going to be too much coming from Lulu and Hotshot for the slow. And he's going in quite hard, getting a bit of damage down. Maybe deterred, though, not seeing the burst he wanted to on that. Oh, it's going to be Nick Wu getting baited in. Nick, why?
Nick, why indeed? Oh my goodness, he just went around the corner and Link was waiting there with the light binding and Final Spark. Proceed with caution, MIA, because your teammate just got messed up by Lux. So all in all, that is another win for CLG, and I want to attribute it to the aura items, honestly, like the Runic Bulwark, the double lock of the Iron Solari, the Frozen Heart, but also just to CLG's moxie and their ability to move around the map and outplay Complexity, because they got those fights when Complexity was low and CLG was at full health. They got them in a spot where Doublelift was not vulnerable to absolutely anything. There was no flank positioning going on there because Complexity had to chase through the base. So CLG had complete control over absolutely everything that was happening there, and we'll see if they can turn it into a Baron now as everyone's up but Nick Wu, and CLG has about 15 to 20 seconds of power play here.
Doublelift is going to be the one to start that with Chowster, Hotshot on one side. They do have the Unstoppable Force up, so he can just go over the edge if they really feel threatened in this one. It looks like Complexity is going to set themselves up. Nick Wu trying to come home guard up from base. He is going to be a little late to the fight. Vladimortis caught up. They're going to go for big everything onto Vladimortis. Very interesting here. Hotshot goes right to Brunch. MIA trying to get the peel for Hotshot. Still focused on Vladimortis. Here comes Nick Wu into the fight. He's going to be coming from the backside, and they're all very low after just focusing Laude. Why? Doublelift could go down here. The focus from Brunch. Hotshot still getting pushed out of the fight. Doublelift is actually able to turn around and get an obliteration kill there, but it looks like he goes down from MIA. Hotshot being thwarted out of the fight, and Complexity just back and forth danced that out in the Baron.
And at least CLG made up their mind. They wanted to fight there. They did not want to deal with Baron steals or Baron boogies. They just went. It ended up in a 2-for-2. The thing was, the fight stretched far enough back that Nick Wu was able to join it. Doublelift didn't get off his full amount of damage. Yes, the ultimates landed onto Vladimortis, but that is a big mummy right there, as sad as he may be without having aura items and having the most deaths in the LCS. But that was probably a good fight for Complexity. They are withstanding this inhibitor being down. They did get a dragon for the global gold, and the Baron is still up. So if they can keep defending that, if they can somehow get that gargantuan creep wave in their bottom lane cleared so they can defend a Baron, they'll be all right, but it's going to be really tough.
Actually looks like they may be trying to finally get that Aegis out onto Vladimortis as he goes back, buys, starts to soak up. You can see how much damage the creeps are doing to him alone, and that's what they're going to have to deal with after these elongated fights. The base has to be watched now. Open inhibitors really leave you naked, if you will. And then Leandre's now being picked up on MIA.
Yeah, he's just going for the damage, Elise. He's like, I'm an AP carry, man. Why would an AP carry build an Aegis or a Runic Bulwark? Eventually, Mortis is going to get there. You can see that's going to be his next item, but they needed that about 20 minutes ago because 10-2-7 on Link. Everyone thinks Double Lift is the threat right now, but if you're not building Magic Resist, that, like, what is his AP? 634 AP Lux is just going to destroy your team. Here they come. Mortis was clearing the waves. They got wards inside. Will we see a repeat 4v5 fight from CLG, or are they just going to go for this Baron?
They just used the final spark on Nick Wu, doing a little bit of damage, really gave them the confidence to start this. Mortis on the outside, he flashes in, goes for it. He could get a good curse here. He's trying to get in the middle of the team. They lock down Chauster. He cannot help. He tries to get in, but they pop up Wild Growth on the jump. Awesome job taking him down. Cataclysm doesn't even hit. Nick Wu going down. His Baron was still hitting him. Taking a lot of damage there. Complexity out of position in this fight. And CLG is going to be able to turn this one around. Double lift onto Chuper. 1-2 for the double kill there. Brunchu trying to take out Hotshot. But this is where the armor comes into play. And that's what he's cooking. Mortis trying to get out of here. Double lift. Could get a few more, but he's going to use a little bit of a trick to get out.
CLG just tactically forcing them back to the Baron again and again. They knew they had the edge in these team fights. Oftentimes just due to the item builds. Hotshot teleporting into the base. Mortis might not be able to defend this. They are going for the end.
Right onto the Nexus turret. He has a lot of siege minions right there coming in as well. The super minions, it looks like they may be able to get this second one down. Mortis, no ulti, just trying to bang his head off of everybody that he can right now as he cries, watching the turrets go down. Himself going down. The Nexus open, and it looks like CLG will finally be able to take this. 41 minutes.
Even at the very end of the game, they didn't have a gold lead. There is still down 200 gold, so that was tactical outplay. They really mind-gamed them there. I think that brings CLG back to 500 on the season. They're 10-10, first team to double digits, and man, they probably feel pretty good about that one because that was a tough road back in that game.
They really had a lot of back and forth. I think you said it the best. After that one fight, they really were trading the lead. And like you said, not even coming out with a gold lead in the end of the game. Complexity's positioning on that Baron fight kind of hurt them. Nick Wu took over 1,000 damage from Baron.
It's one of those things you forget about Baron. Once he's aggroed, it's like, well, yeah, you were the closest to it. CLG peeled back properly, and Nick Wu poked around too far. Like, Double Lift was the focus on that fight, but it was almost like a lost leader. Because Link was the one destroying everyone. Everyone was focused on Double Lift, and Link was just spamming with Lux and destroying people.
MIA's play towards the end of the day here is definitely something that needed to come out in the beginning. His Sona was lacking a little bit earlier, and that will get to you as a player. We all know MIA is a good player, but you get down on yourself sometimes, and I think we saw that a few times. The Flash Crescendos he missed, he took those hard on himself, and we saw it a few times with Elise missing the Cocoon. So his play in the end of the game, though, coming in a little too late, but it was still very good. They just weren't able to pick up the win.
Yeah, and let's take a look at that last team fight to really see exactly what went down in this one, because you can see CLG's all baiting around the outside, but it's the damage that they're taking, Mortis not getting the right ultimates, and Link and Double Lift just staying in the back zone. Like, look, he's getting a pretty good Twitch ultimate off as Hotshot and Chauster do all the damage. Link actually didn't get his final spark off in this fight, but it didn't seem to matter. The Baron was hitting Nick Wu. Double Lift was the threat in this fight, and Complexity is just too scattered, right? They didn't have the necessary team cohesion that they really, really wanted, and it's so close for these guys. Like, Complexity is just so close to being a great team. They can stick with all these guys, but they get scattered, they get messed up, and it's over.
Absolutely. Definitely something that could have, continued to escalate from the first decision made earlier in the mid push to the top push. Everything counts in the game of League of Legends. But up next, we have an interview with Chauster from Counterlogic Gaming, and then that's our 5th match of the day, GGU versus TSM. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are joined by Chowster from Counterlogic Gaming after that 40-plus minute win. Obviously, you guys can't be super happy with yourself after that win, knowing, you know, Counterlogic logic. What happened, and what did you guys do to turn it around?
It went really bad in the beginning. I think bottom lane got double killed.
Yeah.
Top lane was doing fine, and that I went up and I messed that lane up myself later on. So basically, our bottom lane lost and our top lane lost, and then we started off with a big disadvantage. And we had to climb back up and just try to win from there.
So how do you pick yourself up from that kind of situation then? Because you're down early. How do you tool them around and force team fights and get in the right situations?
We're just pressuring the map. We're pushing at the right times, and we're lane swapping at the right time. So we're trying to just make like a large bundle of creep somewhere, and they're like, yeah, we know Nick Wu's going to go farm that creep wave. It'll allow us to like get some pressure somewhere else. Or like, you know, just tool them around the map and hopefully farm up for late game to make up for the disadvantage early.
Okay, so was there a particular moment where you realized that you could continue to do this to them? Like, was it a team fight somewhere in the middle of the game where you realized they couldn't keep up with you, or was it really just a battle until the very end?
I think the biggest turning point was when we were base racing, and someone made some random call like, oh, we'll beat them in a base race. But that's not true. It's like, it's going to be even. But I was like, oh, yeah, send Link back. And Link went back, and he managed to hold off the inhibitor tower, and that was the biggest one of the game.
So coming into this, you said, you know, Doublelift was dying a few too many times. What do you guys do or take into consideration when this is happening?
Something's going wrong. I think I've analyzed it just sitting here, and I figured out what went wrong because that game, Ezreal was really underfarmed, and I myself could actually tank the backline, which is very rare because usually as a jungler I don't have enough farm. So now I need Malphite to peel, but we're not used to that, and I feel like the miscommunication there, like I should have just kept having Malphite go in and kept having me stay in the back, and that would have probably been a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, let's talk about your team communication a little bit too, because back in the day, CLG was the yelling team, where it's just like whoever's the loudest, they get listened to. Is it still the same way? Do you want to kind of talk me through how you guys are communicating now?
There's no yelling, because we know that's bad. Like in game, if people go on tilt, that's like some of the amateur teams might suffer from this. Like people emotions rage and boil, and you can't no longer like make any good decisions. So we just stay calm. And now we're on the, it's a little too quiet, and there's nothing being called, and that's where our problems lie.
All right, so champion select, a lot of people, we see Chowster, we see Jarvan. Why does Jarvan lock in as your style?
I just think Jarvan, he has some of everything. He has long-range initiate, he has peel, he has good CC, and he's just overall safe pick. I can first pick him, and it works with almost like any team comp also.
All right, and I kind of want to talk about your style individually as a jungler, because I've seen you say in some interviews before, like, oh, Saint gets a lot of farm, but that's only because he takes farm from lanes. I don't do that. Why do you play jungle the way you do, where you're not farming that much?
It's sometimes I just have to be at places. I think I have to be at certain places at certain times, and also like it's a choice. It's not necessarily like a bad or good thing to farm. It's just like a different way to play, and I'll just choose like my team. My carries are very selfish. Yeah. And if my carries are so selfish, I just can't get farm.
Okay, so I have to ask you this question then, because like Insect would be an example of a jungler who just takes all the farm and starts carrying the game. And I've heard you specifically talk about you guys not being able to run very many threats on a team. It's usually just like Doublelift and maybe Link, and then you make one mistake and you're kind of out of the game. Wouldn't the next logical conclusion be, since you're respected so well within your team, that you take a bunch of farm on a jungler and become that threat and play more carry junglers?
It's an alternative solution, but I don't like that idea personally, because I feel like if I'm to do that, our play style has to change and half our team composition has to change, and it's a little too much to bank on something we don't know that will work. And if we're going to expend all our resources like during the weeks and lose, then it's not worth the risk.
So coming on to that, when you guys brought in Link and both Alframu, was it we're going to try to keep it as roots as possible, or did you know there had to be style changes tweaked a bit?
We brought in Link and Alframu. We didn't really think about the style. We just thought like player and potential. Like, can these players grow and fit in, like fill in the big shoes that we've left them? And if they can, then great. And that's where we're headed. All
right. So for your potential guys, like you brought them in at the start. Obviously, the guys that had almost kind of been replaced, like Voyboy in the top lane is now exceeding on Curse. Even Elements is doing fairly well on Curse as well. Like, what is the potential of the CLG team, and where do they still have to grow? Like, in what areas will they still be improving on?
I think, even though it's weird, I think our team suffers from experience. Not so much myself, not so much Hotshot or Doublelift, but like Link and Afro, they're still pretty green in the competitive scene. Like I feel like Link has a lot of solo queue habits that tend to carry over into competitive play. And just in general, our objective control is a little off as a team, and we need to fix those first.
So coming into the season with all those changes, do you regret making so many changes, or do you think it's the right call in the long run?
Well, every time we lose, I tend to regret. Then I think about it, and it's all hypothetical, and yeah, I'm okay where we're at.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, Chalister, thank you very much. Congratulations on the win again. But we have more league, guys. It's time for our next match, Good Game University versus Team Solo Mid. We sat